U.S. had chosen to attack instead of finding a peaceful solution.
The film 13 Days, May 2000 is an intense portrayal of the Cuban Missile Crisis, but does it present history responsibly and accurately for today's audience? The 40-year age gap between the actual events and the production of the movie affects its credibility as perspectives change over time. Being a Hollywood film, it showcases JFK, RFK, and Kenny O'Donnell's perspective about the crisis, making them the heroes who save America and the world from nuclear disaster. The film captures the fear and the pressure of the moment, but distinctly from an American point of view rather than a unbiased global one. Our team believes that 13 Days is powerful and dramatic, but its focus on the U.S. and its post-Cold War production make it tell a more heroic version of America's story. This approach limits viewers' understanding of the Cuban Missile Crisis as a complicated, multi-sided international event because of the missing perspectives from the Cubans and Soviets. To support our argument, AIM will evaluate the film's origin, purpose, value, and limitation, showing how 13 Days emphasizes American heroism while oversimplifying the global stakes and perspectives of the Cold War.
The movie 13 Days was created in the year 2000 for the New Line Cinema. It was directed by Roger Donaldson and produced by Kevin Costner, respectively. As the movie was created about 10 years after the USSR's collapse, some of the details of the Cuban Missile Crisis, October 16, 1962, could be left out without the risk of political interventions. The film's purpose was to plunge the audience back into the Cuban Missile Crisis and to make people realize how stressful these 13 days and 4,000 nuclear warheads actually were. It was also to show how America's greatness, because it showed how JFK, RFK, and O'Donnell managed to resolve a political crisis. Roger Donaldson and his screenwriter, David Strauss, made Kenny O'Donnell's role a lot more important in order to make the film relatable to more people. It was filmed mostly in the Pentagon, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. The director left out the possibility of filming in Russia or Cuba, thus showing the American leadership even more. Since it has been created in Hollywood, it further expands the purpose of showing how the heroic America.
The first value of 13 Days is that the movie immerses the audience into a dramatic environment that brings out the viewers' anxiety from showcasing the stress in the White House office during the Cold War, especially during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Additionally, the movie provides a first-hand perspective to the uneasy atmosphere that was in those rooms, sometimes making us feel claustrophobic from the close-up shots of the actors. The movie also represents how millions of Americans idolize JFK because of his decision-making strategies, emphasizing understanding and an employing force, even though the responsibility of every American was in his hands. Finally, the movie shows the audience how the USA triumphed during this stressful time with their offensive tactics, such as naval blockage and tense negotiations. However, there are still some limitations. Firstly, the production completely ignored the Soviet Union's perspective, now Russia, with the limited coverage of why missiles were trying to be employed towards the USA. Even though the movie tried to include past conflicts such as the Bay of Pigs, Marching Over Again, and Operation Mongoose, actors only briefly mentioned the name to dramatize the situation at hand without fully going into details such as defining or stating who was involved. Another limitation was that while conducting the budget test on the movie 13 Days, Finding showcased how there were no moments where two women talked alone without the presence of a man with the movie. In conclusion, the film 13 Days effectively helped American citizens understand what happened in the Cuban Missile Crisis through showcasing the story and perspective of people in power, such as politicians and military officers, but simplified a historical story for the purpose of giving Kevin Costner a bigger role, while glorifying America.
As we discussed openly, like the point of view which the movie was filmed was clearly the American side with Canada. It focuses here too much on JFK and militarization to the crisis, showing mostly one side story. However, as they add tense environment that were in the room, this brings more of the general audience. Additionally, as the scenes are relatively short, it has more of the general audience following along. As the general audience following along as attention span. This adds to mystery. However, during this shortens a lot of details were left out, especially from Khrushchev and Castro's perspective. This makes the crisis really seem horrible film to show the USA greatness. For the implications, we think that single-sided focus makes JFK and military's perspective a lot more strong. Forgetting a little bit about the Soviet Union and Cuba. This makes the audience forget a little bit about the Soviet behavior. This relates to many number of the others. The same USS or Cuba, where the others by film making JFK and RFK, Kenny O'Donnell, Robert, I can't pronounce his name, seem more included. Overall, the exaggeration, the American heroism worth did play off. The American was overall historical vision, impact of accuracy of the movie to non-US audience.
To answer the editor's big question, how can stories like 13 Days help us understand and evaluate global challenges, we believe this film offers both meaningful insight and serious conversations of how it portrays the crisis. Its perspective focuses on American experience and orientation in the space of time as a U.S. production from the 2000 now mostly viewed by Gen Z artists and reflects the post-Cold War nationalism more than the complex realities of 1960s. 13 Days highlights President Kennedy's leadership and moral leadership, but overlooked the diplomatic strategies of fears of Cuban and Cuban leaders, who were equally crucial and important in preventing war. This context gives the movie undeniable emotional power, allowing viewers to feel the urgency, fear, and humanity behind global decision-making. However, it also simplifies the global situation, turning an international crisis into a mainly American story. Used without context, it risks reinforcing a one-sided understanding of Cold War history and how nations share responsibility in global crises. That's why we recommend Dirty Days as a powerful but partial tool, one that works best when students are encouraged to question whose stories are told, who are left out, and how those choices shape our understanding of the world today. By doing so, the film can now help new generations engage critically with history, not just emotionally, and recognize that every global challenge depends on more than one nation's point of view. Thank you very much.